Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Isaiah Warlock here. In this video, I'm going to be teaching you how to do a fry scream. So I've done a few videos now where I've taught you guys how to sound like specific artists. And so far, all three artists that I've done have all used a fry scream. And multiple people have commented it and DM'd me asking me to do an actual video tutorial on a fry scream in general. So here it is. I'm going to talk about what a fry scream is, how you can do a fry scream, and also some of the biggest mistakes that I see people making when they're trying to do a fry scream. And before we jump into it, please consider subscribing. It's free. You can unsubscribe whenever you want, so you might as well, and it helps me out a lot. So fry screaming is actually my favorite kind of screaming. There are multiple different kinds. The two most common ones that you'll hear about are fry screaming and false chord. And fry screaming is going to be used typically for mid screams and high screams. And then false chord sounds better, I'd say, with kind of growls. So you can use either one for high screams, mid screams, and low screams, but those are the ones that they sound better in. I can do both of them, but I would say that my expertise is more in the fry scream kind of area. So here's a few examples of what a fry scream sounds like. So now I will take you through the process of trying to find your own fry sound. Now, something that it's very important to keep in mind here is that when you're watching all these screaming tutorials, people will use very specific terms like fry and false chord, and they'll talk about things going on in your throat, and they'll talk about all these different things. But the problem is everybody has a different voice, so the way you're going to achieve a fry scream is a little bit different than the way I might achieve a fry scream. It's all about just exploring your own voice and trying to figure out what sounds can you make with what you have. And I like the fry scream because it's very versatile. As you saw, you can do highs, mids, lows, and then you can also put a note under it and to kind of belt with it to do kind of a sing scream. Basically anything you can think of as far as screaming, you can do it with a fry scream, whereas other types of screams are a little bit more limited. I actually broke the world record of the longest scream with a fry scream, and that's because doing a fry scream doesn't take as much air to do it as other screams do, so you can do it for much longer. So to begin, you're going to want to make this sound. It's super important that you can make this sound. Now, most people can make the sound. When I hear somebody that can't make the sound, it's because they're trying to do a few different things. For example, I've heard people try to go like this. And the problem there is what I'm doing is I'm actually using my vocal cords to make a note, right? And then I'm trying to find the fry there. But that's not really going to work to begin with. You really need to just do it completely pitchless. Don't kind of sing, don't hum, just kind of push air through and make that sound. Okay. A way to explain it that I've used several times is that when you get up in the morning and you're very sleepy, you'll often do this without even thinking about it, because you'll talk kind of like this. When you're really tired, you tend to talk like this sometimes. Right? That's fry. Hello. Oh, I'm really sleepy. I don't want to get out of bed. That's all fry. Now you have to understand that you have to start with this sound. You can't go straight into screaming at all, because if you do that, you will get very confused and you will not be doing the correct sound. So you do need to just start with going like this. Make sure you can make that sound, and make sure you can have a good control over that sound. So that's the next step, is taking it from this to try to change sort of the pitch of it, move it up and down in your throat. That's kind of the next step. And now you start to build on it. You start to make it a little bit louder and a little bit louder. Now, I've seen people try to rush this, and they try to go, and when they don't know how to push it yet, they just go, they'll do something that sounds kind of like that, and that is not fry. Once you push on it like that, now you've already lost the fry. So it's very gradual. It takes a lot of patience to kind of very slowly. It took me several months to do it. And what you're going to experience is that you're going to be able to do it one day. You're going to do it really well once. You're going to be like, oh, and you'll be like, whoa, that was it. And then you're not going to be able to do it again. And that's completely normal. You're going to be able to do it sometimes and not other times. But the thing is that you just keep practicing. Eventually, you'll be able to do it with complete consistency. So remember, you start here, and then very slowly, maybe try to push it a little bit harder. Maybe it sounds like that, right? And remember, don't put your voice into it. Don't give it pitch. Keep it pitchless. Keep it breathy, and just keep making it louder and louder every day. Yeah! And it's going to take a long time for you to get from to yeah, but it just takes patience and it takes practice. Now let me show you some things that you don't want to do. I had a person who I was helping learn to do a fry scream, and he was sending me audio messages, and when he would try to do the fry scream, it would sound like this. And the reason it sounded like that is because he was trying to push it before he had really very much control over the fry. So the fry is this, remember? And if you don't have very good control over it, if the muscles kind of in your larynx aren't used to making the sound yet, then when you push it, you're going to lose the sound, and you're going to find another kind of sound like and that's just kind of your throat, and that's almost false chord, but that's not fry anymore. If you push it and you see that you lose the sound a bit, you're not doing fry anymore. You need to go back and just get used to making the sound and build that up bit by bit. Now, something you should know about the fry scream is how it feels, because you might hear me go, ah! And you might think that feels very I don't know, kind of violent, and that feels very aggressive in my throat, but it actually doesn't at all. But if you think that it does, you might try to go really hard and put your throat into it and end up sounding something like ah! And that's not fry anymore at all. That's more of just like a natural scream, and that's kind of going into the realm of false chord. Now I'll do some false chord screams for you so that you know the difference between fry and false chord, right? A false chord growl sounds like this. Whereas a fry growl sounds like this. And a false chord mid sounds like this. Whereas a fry mid sounds like this. And a false chord high sounds like this. Whereas a fry high sounds like this. Okay, so they're two very different sounds. The things on the more false chord side of things, which is going to feel a bit lower down in your throat, and that's going to kind of blend more into like a natural screams. That's going to feel very kind of clunky in your throat, and the sound is going to be very clunky. But with the fry scream, it should feel very light, and the distortion should feel just kind of sharp, not big and clunky. When you do a fry scream, all you're going to feel in your throat is just kind of a little bit of like crackle up here, like kind of at the top of your throat. It's just a very little amount of crackle. It doesn't feel painful at all. It doesn't feel rumbly. If you're experiencing any kind of pain while trying to learn the fry scream, take a break for the day and try again tomorrow. Now, something that I experienced while learning it is that once I figured out how to do the fry scream, I could do it for a while, and then I'd get tired of doing it, and my throat would get kind of fatigued, and I just couldn't do it for several days after that. And that's going to happen once you find it. Even though it doesn't hurt while you're doing it, you're just going to kind of wear yourself out, and you're not going to be able to do it for a few days, and that's completely fine. You're going to need to take breaks, and you're going to need to try again a few days later. That's all part of getting yourself used to the feeling of doing it and making the muscle memory so that you can do it consistently. Now, some tutorials and vocal coaches might tell you that this is fry. Okay, some people will tell you that that's fry, and in my opinion, that isn't really fry. That's kind of in a place in between fry and false chord, and that's something that maybe Ollie Sykes does, Chester Bennington of Linkin Park would do, kind of singing with the rasp. To do that, if you want to get into that, that's not really fry. It's related to fry, but in my opinion, that's kind of right in the middle between fry and false chord. But if you're wanting to do fry, don't jump in right away trying to put a pitch underneath it, right? That's something that'll become later. If you really want to do like a sing scream, you might have to use a different kind of distortion. And you can do it with fry, but it takes a lot more practice after you've already learned to do the basic fry scream. If you're not able to do a fry scream, don't lose hope. Watch other tutorials. Maybe get a voice teacher. The thing is, everybody's voice is different, so you just kind of have to mess around and try different things before you find what works for you. If you find yourself wanting extra help with screaming, either fry or any other kind of screaming, you can DM me on Instagram. Here's my Instagram, because I'm starting to give one-on-one classes. So thank you guys a ton for watching. If there's any other kind of scream or anything you want a tutorial for how to do it, just drop it in the comments and I'll make sure to get to it. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.